We're now welcoming Anthony Lionheart Smith taking on Ryan Spann August 26th, a rematch of a fight from last year. Anthony, my first question, of course, how much of this fight is a continuation of the fight in September, or do you wipe the slate clean?
No, man, I just look at this as like a totally new fight. I'm sure he's made adjustments. There was probably a lot for him to take from that last fight. And I'm sure that they're going to come with a different approach. I'm sure he's going to be a little bit more measured and probably use some of the things that have worked in my last couple fights against me. I'm sure they're going to implement that into their game a little bit.
What did he bring last time around that has surprised you a little bit? He's explosive, he's strong, he does have finishing power. What last time surprised you a little bit that you'll be ready for this time?
Nothing really, to be honest, and I don't mean that in a disrespectful way. I expected him to be powerful. I expected him to be kind of chaotic in there a little bit. It's at least at a point I knew he would get there. I was a little bit surprised at how easy it was to find him. I thought he was going to be a little bit more elusive. But other than that, man, he didn't really surprise me. He's a tough guy. He's got a lot of talent. He's really explosive. He's got crazy power. I got a lot of respect for his game.
Going back to even the Rashad Evans fight, which is at 185 pounds, you've taken on probably 4 or 5 Hall of Famers since then. What have you learned from that, taking on those top-level guys? What have you learned from those fights that you can take into this one?
It's just high-level experience and how cerebral the best guys in the world are. I think the reason that I understand Ryan Spann and his approach and some of the things that happened to him is because I used to be that guy. I used to just kind of have a freak out in there all the time, and sometimes you win those and sometimes you don't. It's kind of a coin flip. So I think just being cerebral and calm inside those chaotic positions and situations is kind of what I've learned. Even in there with John and guys like even Glover, did a really good job of just staying really composed inside the chaos, and I've tried to take that with me.
Speaking of chaos, that's been 205, right? Jamal Hill blowing out his Achilles, having to relinquish the title. Before that, Yuri Prochazka and his shoulder, exact same thing. What's it like being in the midst of a division that just can't seem to hold a champion? Is it good? Is it bad? Are there always opportunities? What's your take on it, man?
Well, it's good and bad. It leaves lots of opportunities for guys like me to put a quick run together and find yourself in a title fight. It's bad because you get a lot of the haters talking about the division that it's been up in the air since John Jones left. I think it creates a lot of parity. It's interesting. There's a lot of really tough guys at the top of the division. So it's gonna, even when we get a champion, I'm fairly certain we're gonna play a game of popcorn with it even once we get one, because everyone's so evenly matched at the top.
Magomed Ankalaev, Johnny Walker, and now Ryan Spann. Was there any thought to you of, man, I should maybe take on an easier opponent? You're always taking on the toughest guy available, man. What does that say about you and your desire in this division, man?
Well, I've just always had the mindset that if you want to be the champion, you got to be able to beat everybody. And, I haven't done that, up to this point. I've had some hiccups. And listen, man, here's my biggest mistake. I've always said that I wanted to be like the bigger version of Donald Cerrone. Like, I'll fight anybody, anytime, any place, and I've lived up to that. I'll take all comers. I'll fight lower ranked guys. I'll fight the higher ranked guys. I'll fight on short notice. I'll fight across the world. It doesn't matter. What I didn't take into account is maybe that I've absorbed some of the inconsistencies that Donald Cerrone's seen at times where, I think sometimes I show up and I can beat anybody in the world, and then sometimes I'm not as consistent. So, that's really my issue, man. I don't really care who the opponent is. I'm just worried about trying to be as consistent as possible. And I'm feeling I'm on right now. But and I can be on for 2 or 3 in a row, but for whatever reason, I don't know if I get distracted or I take my eye off the ball or whatever, but then I turn in some stinkers every once in a while, and it sucks.
Well, I'm looking forward to it. August 26th, Ryan Spann. Thank you so much, Anthony, for your time, buddy.
I appreciate you, man. Always. I always got time for you.
Thank you for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.